relief to a judge as the law requires.
But I understand all of that, but let's talk about what's going to happen to those 12,000. Removal proceedings, including asylum cases, can take anywhere from 6 months to several years. And 44%, according to the Department of Justice, 44% of those who are released into custody or from custody miss their court hearings. Just as a matter of reality, won't many of those thousands of people end up settling here in the United States, some of them permanently?
Chris, we have enforcement guidelines in place that provide that individuals who are recent border crossers, who do not show up for their hearings, are enforcement priorities and will be removed. And that is one of our
key... Do you remove all of them, or do some of them disappear into the country?
Well, it is our intention to remove them. That is what our policies are. And we deploy our enforcement resources according to certain priorities to ensure the safety and security of the American people.
But, sir, there are more than 11 million people in this country illegally. Clearly, despite your best efforts, millions of people end up in this country and don't just disappear.
Chris, 11 million people in this country without lawful presence is a compelling reason why there is unanimity about the fact that our immigration system is broken and legislative reform is needed.
Okay. According to internal documents, your department is now tracking a lot more people, including Haitians, who were on their way up from South America, Central America, to cross the border into this country. I want to put up the numbers. 20,000 Haitians in Colombia, 3,000 in Peru, and 1,500 in Panama. In May, the Biden administration extended temporary protected status for the 150,000 Haitians already living in the new U.S. And now, as you've said, you've released another more than 12,000 into the country. Our next guest, Texas Governor Abbott, traveled to Del Rio, to the site of that bridge, and the 15,000 people huddled under the bridge this week. And here's what he had to say. Take a look.
When you have an administration that has abandoned any pretense of securing the border and securing our sovereignty, you see the onrush of people like what we saw walking across this dam that is right behind me.
Hasn't this administration created a magnet? Haven't you given the Haitians and a million more immigrants who you had an encounter with since Joe Biden came into office, haven't you given them a reason to believe there's a reasonable chance if they come into this country, they'll end up being released into the country and have months or perhaps years to stay here?
Chris, this is nothing new. We've seen this type of irregular migration many, many times throughout the years. I don't know if Governor Abbott said the same thing in 2019 when there were more than 1 million people encountered at the southern border.
It has gotten worse. Just the statistics of your own department show that the flood of people coming illegally across the border has gotten worse under the Biden administration.
So I wouldn't call it a flood, Chris, if I may. But
what would you call it?
We have seen large numbers of individuals encountered at our border making a claim for asylum, for humanitarian relief, which is a statute, which is a law of the United States, that individuals can make a claim of fear of persecution by reason of their membership in a particular social group. That's what the law provides. We have certainly seen a large number here in this year, but in 2019, we saw a large number. In 2014, in 2010, this is nothing new. It spans many, many years. It spans different administrations of both parties, and it speaks to the need for legislative reform.
But I want to get to this question about asylum seekers having to come over in a minute, but I want to talk first because you say, well, nothing has changed. I think what was so dramatic about these last 2 weeks is that, yes, there's a trickle of people to come across, but to see 30,000 people in 17 days come across the border into one location and be hiding under that, or huddling under that bridge. You say 30,000 people walked across that dam into Del Rio in the last 17 days. Question. Why didn't you stop them?
Oh, so we encounter them at the border. That's where we encounter them, Chris. And you know what? We saw, indeed, a large number of people cross at one particular part of the border in a short period of time. And what did we do? We surged our resources. We surged our personnel.
Why didn't you stop them from coming into the country?
We did. We encountered them. They gathered, they assembled in that one location in Del Rio, Texas, and we applied the laws. We applied the public health law under the CDC's authority, and we applied immigration law.
My question is, why did you allow them in the country in the first place? Why didn't you build, forgive me, a wall or a fence to stop them from walking in this flood of people coming across the dam? It looks like a highway that allows them to cross the Rio Grande.
It is the policy of this administration. We do not agree with the building of the wall. The law provides that individuals can make a claim for humanitarian relief. That is actually one of our proudest traditions.
Of the 30,000 Haitians who came across the border into Del Rio, how many did your department